What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Form Terror Fridays. It's going to be another good one. Pretty stoked. Happy Friday. I've got my frozen fireball. I'm going to take a little frozen shot. Ooh, yeah, spicy. So we're going to let everyone join up here. I'll just say it was incredible going to Canada, spending that time with Erica, aka Grave Dancer, and being able to talk to Mark Richards about his process, about what goes on in his head, about not having to do band commissions anymore. Like, that's huge. Always getting awesome questions, especially from Mark Riddick, which is just beyond an honor to be able to converse with him. So we are going. We're gonna get started real soon. I just figured I'd hop on and kind of give people a chance to join here. So we've got one person. What's up? JD Nar. And looking forward to another nice, I don't know if I would say in-depth conversation, but in-depth enough conversations with sick artists. Daniel Shaw is definitely an amazing artist who just crushes all sorts of really cool imagery, from demons to monsters, creatures, skeletons with helmets, all sorts of awesome things that are pretty cool. I have no cool words right now. What's going on, Mark? How's it going? Happy Friday. Grab yourselves a beverage of choice, and we'll get started soon enough. Hell yeah. Nice. Yeah, I got to see them in Kung Fu Necktie in Philadelphia, and I don't remember who they played with. It might have been Outer Heaven. I'm not sure, but it was a sick show. I think it was Superstition and Tomb Mold, actually, and possibly Outer Heaven. So, but it was a sick show nonetheless, and snagged this shirt while I was there. Cool. So we got a couple more people joining, and I'm gonna invite our guest, Daniel Shaw, aka Sawblade 666. Just an incredible ink artist. I took some time to watch some live video footage of him working on a piece. It was really interesting to see how he went about starting to ink, different tools he was using. Definitely, I highly recommend you check out his IGTV posts. He's only got a few of them up there right now, and I'm hoping that he keeps up with that. So, gonna be really, really cool to talk to him about some of this process. And I've got some notes here, as always. Let's go ahead and invite him, and we'll get started. Everybody got your beverage of choice? This week, Form Terror Fridays is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Drink it. It's stupidly good, I guess. All right, we got a couple more people joining up. All right. Have you always lived in Canada? I don't live in Canada. I was visiting Canada, and it was excellent. I had an amazing time with Erica, and it was awesome. Let you in? No, I'm not doing that. I hope you have keys. I'm already live, so we're going to do this. I don't want to be rude to my guests, so I'm going to go ahead and ask Daniel to join. request has been sent. All right. Hey, what's going on, man?
Can you hear me?
I can. I will be able to hear you better right now. Okay, there we go. What's going on, dude?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Hang on, let me turn up here.
Yeah, sure.
A little bit.
Turn this camera up. All right, cool. We got some more people joining.
How you doing,
wow,
Fred?
This spiked really quickly. It went from like 3 to 22.
Awesome.
yeah, that's sick. And much deserved. Like, eyes on you for the right reasons, man. You are an incredible artist, and I'm so honored to have the time to take the time to talk to you. And
dude, thanks for having me, dude.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I ever since I've started my new Instagram, I've just like found so many sick artists, and I knew that I had to have you on here when I was, doing some scoping out for possible guests. So I'm really glad that you agreed to it, and I think we're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be fun. Do you have a beverage?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah! What you got? What's that now?
Giant coffee.
Nice. So is this the middle of your work day today, or?
My work day starts at my day starts at 5 in the morning.
Wow.
And I go for a walk and a light jog for 30 minutes, and I come back, and then I work from 6 to 2. I break for lunch, and then I'm back at it till 9, 10 at night, and I go to bed and start all over again.
Wow.
That's my day.
Wow. It's not easy for me to stay glued like that for as long as I feel like other artists I've been talking to have been. So,
well, when you depend on it for your rent,
sure. Yeah, then it creates more incentive to sit your ass down and do it, for sure. I have like half of that incentive because I do a part-time job at Home Depot. So it's just like,
that's how you build up to this if you want it,
Yeah, exactly.
I had a part-time job for years.
Then? What's that?
I had a part-time job off and on for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've done every job you could think of.
Right on.
The last job I had, I actually hurt my back.
Okay.
So that's why, I decided to just jump in full time with the art and just took the risk. Man, I'm having to keep doing my screen, wondering my screen will go black. I keep having to tap it. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is your phone charged to a certain? It's like, I don't know. I've had problems with that in the past, but not like consistently. Like, I feel like it's sometimes when your phone isn't charged all the way, or.
Well, I've got it plugged in right now.
Same, so, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what else you could do in that instance. Like, I know it'll be annoying kind of tapping the screen the whole time, but
yeah. Well, we'll get there.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not really sure what else to suggest. Maybe someone in the feed can shed some light on how to make sure that doesn't affect what we're doing here. But
anyway.
Yeah, so you had part-time jobs, and then you hurt your back, and you went into, just full-fledged art mode, and
what happened was when I hurt my back, it put me down for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like depression, like you were upset, or like it put you out of commission.
The injury put me down for a couple of weeks. Like, I literally couldn't move. I was on muscle relaxers, right? So when I started getting better, my job became looking for a job. And then I decided, well, what the hell am I going to do? Physical labor's out.
Yeah.
And I was already drawing on the side, so I thought, well, let's just jump into this full time and see what happens.
That's awesome, man.
And it's been
so cool.
3 years now. So
congrats. That's awesome. Yeah. That's definitely the goal. And I think it's not easy to stay consistent like that, but yeah, I'm sure having that, you know, paying your rent, paying your bills, that's your, you know, that's the main fire under your ass trying to do it. But
well, yeah, because for years, you know, I guess it just depends what you want. You know, you could have a part-time job and then just do whatever the hell you want with your art, right? Or in my case, that's cool. I get to mix in what I want to do too, but I'm down for just drawing to pay my bills, because, not to put myself down here, but I suck at everything else. So, and I've always wanted to just make a living on my art.
Nice.
So that's always been the goal. Like
awesome.
Full-time art only.
Hell
that's
yeah.
all I've ever cared about.
Nice, dude. Well, congrats to you for 3 years running. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
You deserve it. You're a hardworking artist and you really crush it, you know? That's a big,
and
big deal.
That's the secret to any of this. There's no secret. That the thing is just to work hard and put it out there consistently so that people see it, because there's an audience for everything, and as long as you work hard and put yourself out there and make the right connections,
exactly, that's
the
huge.
work's there, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very important to just make anything and then put it out there so that people can see it and get those connections going. That's the biggest thing, I think, that some artists just like aren't, it doesn't compute all the time. They're just like, oh, it's not good enough. But like, the only way you can get better is just consistent work, and then from that consistency, putting it out there and showing people what you're doing. Because like you said, there's always going to be someone that appreciates it. Like,
absolutely.
Even if you can't appreciate it yourself right away or whatever. But
I feel that like 9 times out of 10, when you're into what you're doing, I think that's a good sign, and you build up that confidence to where you know that when you put it out there, you'll find an audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I did with my stuff. You know, I kind of had a following. You know, I've been doing it for years. I built up an audience, but I didn't know that if I just tried to go at it full time, if I would be here 3 years later.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees with it.
No.
I just really wanted to try and push that. But that's just what I wanted. And, you know, the same with anybody else. You know, it's just about jumping in and doing it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's actively what I'm doing. It's hard sometimes for me to get over hurdles of what it is I want to accomplish as as far as my art is concerned, what I want it to look like, how I want it to go. But the main thing is just to keep putting pen to paper, keep putting pencil on paper, and you know what I mean? Like, sometimes like it's a real struggle to want to, for me. Like, I guess as passionate as I am about the art that I make, the process can be grueling for me. Like, it's just not easy to sit my ass down and,
you know, on your other shows, I've heard you say that multiple times in other shows, and we all have our struggles and we all have our weaknesses and strengths, you know.
Right.
I guess that was something I never struggled with, because I zero in on what I'm doing, and I can easily get distracted, especially with everything that's around me, or people calling me, and I'll get sidetracked, especially if there's something I have to do.
Right.
But when it's time to work, I don't know. I'm so, you know, focused on trying to get it done.
That's
especially if there's a deadline.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Especially. Yeah. And that's the case for me too. I just think that, like, when I'm trying to create something for me, when it's not a commission piece, Or if I'm just like in a slump in my head, like I'm not sure how to go about creating what it is I want to create. It's hard for me to want to like really like get over that hump. It's weird. I've been kind of struggling with it. It's possible that it's an attention deficit sort of thing. I'm gonna kind of see what I might.
You enjoy making the art, right?
Absolutely, I do. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's only been kind of recently that I'm like struggling to like zero in on things.
I have that problem. There was this last piece I posted.
Yeah.
I kind of had an issue with it taking longer than it should have.
Right.
And I can understand feeling that way sometimes. And I think that's just naturally as artists, you're going to go through that sometimes. And you might have a period of time where you go through that and then get out of it. And you'll just be cranking stuff out,
Yeah.
After it,
I think the biggest thing is I think we should talk about the process that goes into like the techniques that go into like working on different parts of like light and shadow. For you, I've noticed like, well, first of all, I must say like your use of and understanding of light and shadow in your pieces is so well executed.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, I love your hatching and stippling and your cross hatching and your ink, your ink pen lines and your ink brush lines. Like,
thanks,
it's just
man.
it's all. It feels like a lot of the pieces that I've been looking at. It seems like you want, if you can, if it seems like if you can help it, you would like all of those techniques to exist in one piece. But I've also seen like some specific pieces that are only doing like certain like wispy brush strokes and you're trying to emanate a thing. So like, I'm just kind of curious, like how long did it take you to feel confident about like your execution in one area or another in one piece? Like, oh, okay, I know that this part of the skull is going to get this treatment, or, like this robe or whatever is going to...
It's really weird. I like after, about the time I get a rough sketch going, I'll see and I'll decide right there just based on what it is, like if it will need different techniques versus just a couple or even one.
Yeah.
And that's based on the fact of like, oh, well, this has a lot of rocks in it or stone texture. I'm going to use stippling for that. And this is metal, so this will be line. And then I'm doing that to switch up the textures. And you're right, by thinking that there's a decision-making process. And it just depends on the image,
Right. And I think that probably comes over time. You get more experience and it just kind of comes to you like any other thing when you're doing something out physically. Like you'll just know like, oh, I have to pick this up a certain way because it'll only work that way. Like that's the easiest way. It'll, like I'm just trying to apply that idea to other things in life. Like there's just certain ways that you play drums. There's certain ways that you do fills. There's certain ways that you pick up wood, like clean, like use a broom, like shit like that. Like anything really.
Right.
So I guess like, I think over time we develop these understandings of like how we're gonna execute certain places, like certain things in each piece, and I think that's where I'm getting stuck. I'm like, oh, do I want to cross hatch this? Oh, do I want to stipple this? Oh, do I want to, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think that I think as long as you're drawing strong, and if you're worried about the your light and shadow, your contrast and stuff. After you get it drawn, you establish like your light source of where the light's coming from. Yeah. And then from there, I don't think you could use just cross hatching in the whole piece and not vary it up, and it'll still be strong.
Yeah.
I just on certain pieces like to mix it up, and you don't have to do that on every single one.
Of course.
And to me, I just think that for me anyway, I see other artists pull it off, but for me anyway, if I use the same technique every single time and not vary it up, like say something all stipple or all line or just big black solid shapes with very little bit of hatching, it kind of can get, I just don't want it to be repetitive since I only work in one medium.
Absolutely.
You know, but to make those decisions, I think that as long as that wherever you decide to put it makes sense at that time, you know, I think you're good. Or whatever you're trying to accomplish with the texture, like say if something's really old and ragged looking, you know, then maybe cross hatching would work, you know.
Right.
That gnarly, scratchy line. Or,
yeah. I've been doing like scribble hatching too. That's kind of fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to do that when it's really gnarly frayed looking like. Well, okay, so I wanted to kind of rewind then and ask you, where did you start with art? Did you take classes when you were little? Like, had you had a knack for it, and like from the get-go? Like, what's the origin story behind your art?
I've always been drawing.
Cool.
Like since I could literally hold a pencil, and I've been obsessed with it for that long.
That's awesome.
It's just something I've naturally always gravitated towards, you know. And as the older I got, the more serious it got.
Nice.
I would say my professional career started in '93, and but not full time till 2019. But the music end of things started around 95, because before that I was like trying to break into the comic book industry and just whatever random commercial art gig I could get while I worked my construction job, while I worked wherever, you know. And you know, for that went on for years. And but there's no school. I went to an advanced art program in high school.
Cool.
But as far as like what I taught, what I'm doing now, that's all self-taught. That's just through research and studies of my own and drawing on my own.
Nice.
Keeping sketchbooks and you know, just doing it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists whose style I really, really admire. So when you look at my stuff, I'm pulling from all kinds of things.
I wanted to ask you what those things are.
Oh, good. I love talking about it.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
I'm really, really influenced by turn of the last century artists, like Franklin Booth and H.A. Ford, Virgil Finlay.
Hell yeah.
Virgil Finlay's a little later. He's like what I would consider more golden age of illustration.
Yeah.
But pretty much out of all those, there's a lot more. But
please feel free. I mean, I'm writing
comic artists like Wally Wood. That's kind of where I get my influence for the brush stuff that I do. Frank Frazetta.
Hell yeah.
I have to say, I recently laid my eyeballs upon a Frank Frazetta original, which totally made my year.
That's
bucket
awesome.
list thing. And that totally changes your perception on what can be done.
Yeah,
versus
absolutely.
Looking at it in a book for years, you know.
Definitely. I had the pleasure of going to the Frazetta Museum because I live in Pennsylvania.
It will change you.
It's gorgeous. I have a thing of the Creeps issue 18 signed by Frazetta's son, and we met, you know,
That's
him and his wife, and yeah, I've got a bunch of prints I bought, and yeah, that was incredible. That was such an awesome birthday gift.
That's great. That's amazing. I want to go there too.
Yeah. Where are you coming from? Where you live right now?
I live in Houston, Texas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I grew up here. Yeah.
Nice.
But I got to mention my favorite artist of all time is probably Robert Crumb.
Robert Crumb. Okay, yeah.
And my goal was to maybe mix, Robert Crumb with like H.R. Geiger.
Nice.
Meaning Robert Crumb with the technique, but Geiger with
the weirdness,
the texture and weirdness. Yeah. So
hell yeah,
that's where I'm coming from. Comic books.
I love that. That's sick.
Yeah, comic books and just trash, lowbrow.
Right. Yeah. What's your favorite comic? Like what?
Man, I've got a lot, but right now I'm on this Conan kick. 70s and 80s Conan art.
Yeah.
Alfredo Alcala, John Buscema, the black and white magazine stuff.
Right.
Super into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark asked if you were influenced by Aubrey Beardsley.
Wow, Mark, I haven't heard of that one.
You never heard of Aubrey Beardsley?
No, I need to check that out.
Oh, the textures are incredible. It's just so many different uses of shapes, like small shapes, to create large compositions. Wow. A lot of stuff like in clothing, and then like very pale, like white. No, like not a lot of detail to faces and
was this
like
line
hands
work or
and
paintings?
stuff. What's that?
Was it line work or paintings?
Line work, like ink work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very ornate. Yep. And Mark said ornate and stark.
That reminds me of I just mentioned him. Franklin Booth is very linear.
Yeah.
And can establish different textures with one line. And he emulated old engravings, thinking they were done with ink, and that's how his style developed.
Nice.
So super detailed, ornate.
I'm gonna check that out. I love ornate or like detail. Well, I love detailed stuff. I love Harry Clark, which is another thing that comes to mind when I hear of Aubrey Beardsley's work. I think of Harry Clark.
Man, I need to look that up.
Harry Clark is incredible. I love his work. It's super dark. A lot of stuff for Edgar Allan Poe. He did like the Telltale Heart. He did the Usher. It's a very famous piece. It's just so gnarly. I love his work. It's so cool. And then I guess someone else I was gonna William Blake. Are you influenced by William Blake or Gustave Dore or any of them or?
Gustave Dore, of course.
Yeah. Just a master.
That guy. I mean, he's been on so many metal.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
But I can say that I was introduced to that work before I got into any kind of metal or extreme music.
Gotcha.
He did an illustrated Bible, and that was at the church that my parents went to. So growing up, I would see that, and
that's cool. That's big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone asked a question here. Daniel, have you seen the cover to the new Steel Bearing Hand album? Art looks just like yours, but I know it's not. I have that T-shirt too. That
I did the logo.
So sick. What's that? You did the logo?
I did the logo.
That's awesome.
Steel Bearing Hand. I did their logo.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm rocking that shirt. That album is so good.
I haven't heard it. Yeah, I haven't heard it.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. I don't know who the artist is for that Steel Bearing Hand record, and I meant to look it up the other day. But, so I wanted to, let's see. Okay, cool. Yeah, Slay in Hell is the new one. And I don't know if I'll be able to find the artist credit. I hope so. I wanted to ask you about that. Have you ever run into anybody putting stuff out of yours that they don't credit you properly? Like, has that been a thing? Because I feel like that has been bugging me for a while. And I try to go after people that, you know, nicely. I'm like, hey, you know, like, throw the credit on there, tag them, you know.
Man, I hate to, I don't want to be a bummer or anything or be negative, but this really happens within mainly the metal scene.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
I mean, it needs to change. I mean,
it does.
I you know, again, I'm not trying to names or point, but
it should be addressed. It's an important thing, you know.
You're right. I shouldn't have to reach out to a band. We should not have to reach out to bands and remind them to do that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, bands just don't.
It's just they don't think about it. It doesn't make any sense to me, though, because it's 50% of why people even know they exist.
That's right. That's right.
It's crazy. And, like, it's not just bands, it's labels, it's, you know, like, it's production companies, but, like, production companies are not as important. It's not as important coming from, like, second degree, like, you know, ways of showing the art or whatever. But I think mainly the band should be on top of crediting the art that they're having done for them. And then on top of that, the labels that are posting these pictures of T-shirts, of CD covers, like, they need to credit the artists, tag them in the IG, you know, even, you know, and credit them in the actual description, put their you know what I mean, throw their tag in there.
Fred, I hate to be discouraging, but I've been fighting that for years. Because it's not an uncommon thing to ask or expect. You shouldn't even have to ask for that.
No,
it should be common practice to just announce who, you know, give credits to who did the work, you know. And some people do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but some people do make it a point to do so, and it's always appreciative. But you're right. It shouldn't really have to be something that is requested by the artist. It should just be, you know, like commonplace.
But yeah, I do.
It's not just art; it's photographs too. But like, it's not just like paintings and inkings and drawings and stuff. It's photographs too. But
yeah, absolutely. Anything, you know, any kind of creative thing that was, you know, put into print should be given credit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I see someone said something. Okay, we got a couple of people saying stuff here. We got crediting the artist should be set like selling or collecting. Should be a selling collecting point, says Mark. Agreed. The artist who worked on the artwork Steel Bearing Hand is Royed Hasaputra. I don't know who that is, and I would like to know more about their art. It's annoying when they don't credit the artist. Most of the time, the artwork is sick, and there's no way to know who is doing it. I often ask who is the artist and rarely get answers. Yeah. I mean, it's something that if you if you see something, say something. Or if you don't see something, say something.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like if anyone's out there watching this right now and they've struggled with that, don't be afraid to put it in the comment and just say, like, who did the art? Because, you know, and it's not supposed to be like, you're a bad guy. Like, it's just like a nudge, like, hey, you know, someone's going to know who did the art. It's not just going to be some, like, you know, unanswerable question. It's just
right.
But yeah, I mean, depending on who's posting what, but there's always an answer, you know.
Well, I've noticed too, like,
nowhere, so
when you get into bigger projects, sometimes that has to be laid out within the agreement how things get credited, and if they will.
I mean, I'll put that in the, you know, in the liner notes of the terms and conditions, if you will.
Yeah.
Just please, you know, credit me in any posts, tag me in any posts. But yeah, it sometimes doesn't, you know, occur to whoever's posting. And yeah, it's definitely something important, but I don't want it to consume our whole entire conversation.
Sure.
I just wanted to bring it up. So yeah, what is your, so we went through inspiration. I wanted to know, like, as far as like, so we went through really influence, but I wanted to know inspiration wise, like where you're pulling from. I know that you said something, you along with a lot of other cool artists that do like sci-fi kind of stuff, like evil, you know, skeletons and what have you. Warhammer 40K is very prominent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm into, definitely sci-fi and fantasy stuff.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. So that just comes from, you know, way back from when I was a kid all the way to now. And yeah, Warhammer stuff visually has been on my radar probably since high school.
Okay.
You know, but 4 or 5 years ago, I really got into the hobby of, you know, collecting and building miniatures and miniature painting. Seeing those sculpts, like, you know, man, it just makes me want to draw that stuff.
Yeah.
And include it in my artwork. So
yeah,
that's where that stuff comes from.
cool.
But all the, you know, armored skeletons and swords and wizards and stuff, yeah, you know, I've always, I guess it's the era I grew up in too. Like in the 80s, like that stuff was just, it was all over the place. It was in movies. It was, you know,
totally.
gaming culture was big.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons. There was a Dungeons and
yeah.
Dragons cartoon when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, but the thing with the skeletons.
With helmets.
With helmets. That's right. Comes from, Ray Harryhausen did the effects in a movie called Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where this necromancer in the movie raises up these skeleton warriors, and they all come up from the ground. And man, it's the stop motion animation shit, but they're, you know, Jason and the Argonauts are fighting these, you know, skeletons with swords and stuff.
That's sick.
And it kind of plays into like when you see the album cover to Pleasure to Kill by Creator. It kind of has like a demon with these skeleton warriors around it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of my ode to that fantasy theme, you know.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, old D&D art, old Warhammer art. I'm a total gaming artwork geek. Yeah. I mean,
nice.
So.
Well, that's awesome. I love like the helmets on skeletons and skulls. I think you just make such awesome weird creations. Stuff with like eyeballs coming off of them. And
another thing I have to say, I'm also highly influenced by old skateboard art, like Powell Peralta or Santa Cruz. But there's a Powell Peralta image of like a helmeted skull, and that's pretty much stuck with me since a kid. And I've been trying to duplicate that iconic feel.
Yeah.
You know, of just that single image that kicks your ass, you know, just punch you in the face, you know.
Nice.
And that, I guess that's what I'm trying to duplicate. And the artist that did that shit, his name is Courtlandt Johnson. And he does a lot of linear engraving, ink type work, you know, trying to emulate an engraved look, but it's all with ink line.
Yeah.
So that's where all that comes from.
I think I found it.
It's like a blue helmet.
Yep. Yeah.
Dude, that whipped my ass when I was like 12 years old, and I've been trying to chase it ever since.
Or the one where he's holding a sword up like this.
Yes.
That's very iconic. Yeah.
So
That's
good.
sick. I recommend everyone check out Powell and Peralta skull in Google and just check out what's going on there. I mean, I've seen all of these skulls for sure, and the one that's coming out of like the ripped up. That's
perfect.
very iconic.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Sick. Yeah, it's awesome. That's definitely very inspirational. Well, cool. So yeah, I wanted to touch on that for sure because I love your execution of these things. Like, just so up my alley as far as like weird creatures and just like strange like eyeballs in places, and I don't know. I love that kind of stuff.
Me too. Yeah.
But yeah, so let's see. I wanted to ask you. Okay. So a couple of things. First of all, I saw that you were making an art zine named Heads.
Yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of had to. That's still going to be in production. I have everything that goes with it. It's going to be a kind of a zine, what I call a zine pack. It'll be in a baggie with a topper that I'm going to hand make also. And it's going to come with a sticker and a pin, all related to the theme of heads, similar to like, you know, helmeted skulls and just the stuff we're talking about. The theme of one image being iconic, you know.
I love that. I want one.
It's going to be awesome. I'm going to make 50 of them.
Nice.
And it's all hand done, cut and paste, old style, you know, and photocopied. But
awesome.
I got really busy, so I had to kind of put it to the side.
Sure.
To get, you know, caught up with commissions and then jobs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I get slow, I go back to like, it's kind of just a slow, you know, on the
like
side
a progression, like a thing that, like a project on the side.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. I look forward to that. I definitely want one of these heads bundles. And then I wanted to, so we were talking about Warhammer 40K and like this, the skulls with the gas masks kind of like coming from their faces. You made a piece recently for what you called Draw in Your Style,
right?
Which is really cool. I think it's awesome that it just like it gives other artists a chance to represent like what it is that you're putting out there. I think that's super cool. Do you want to talk about it a little bit, like like where it started and all that?
Yeah, I did one last year, and a girl I was dating at the time kind of brought it up. I had seen other people do it also. I wasn't paying quite, I was like, what is that? You know, and I just kind of didn't pay attention later. And then she brought it up again. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a cool idea. So I gave it a shot, and it people seem to enjoy it. And it's just another thing to get some interaction and engagement going with your audience. And I've enjoyed seeing other artists do their interpretation of, you know, your image. Just you get to see a thought process, and then you get to see things like, wow, that's cool. I didn't translate that way, or oh wow, I wish I'd thought of that, or you know, it's just a really creative exchange. I think it's really cool.
I love it. I mean, I wish I had seen it sooner. I would have given it a go. But,
I'm going to do one next year. I'm going to do it yearly. It's going to be a yearly thing.
Nice. I'll keep an eye out for it next time. But
yeah.
I mean, I work slow. I wish I would know like a month before everybody else.
Well, they're small. You could do it.
You work small. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Well, that's cool. I definitely look forward to seeing what you have other people have you want to have other people interpret with their own style next time. And then I took some time to watch one of your IGTVs, and I noticed that it looks like, are you left-handed?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah. I don't think I know many artists that are. So
that
that's
are
awesome.
or aren't?
Yeah, that aren't.
Oh,
like,
okay.
that do have left-handed, that do use their left hand. I thought that was cool. I was just curious, because the way that you had your setup going, I wasn't sure if it was like flipped later or what, but it made more sense that it would be the way it was. I just needed to know for my own sanity. But I also noticed you had tape on the top of your piece, and you were taping it periodically. It was just because you couldn't have your other hand on it, or
no? What the reason is because my table's at an angle, so the paper will slide.
Okay.
So as I'm working, I like just, instead of just holding it up there every time, I could just, leave
that
it
makes
stuck.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was just really confused about that. And then, what is the surface that you're using? That black surface with measurements, like?
Oh, it's just
like a
cutting
grid.
No, it's just a cutting mat that I have on top of my drawing table.
Okay.
So in case I want to cut something, I just use that instead of cutting on my actual board because it's wooden. I don't want to fuck it up.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Of course. But that's what you prefer to draw on?
Not really. It's just, I mean, it's smooth and flat. Any table would do. It's just I don't want to mess up my actual drawing board. Keep ink off of it, and then also keep from like I said, if I need to cut something, I won't cut into my table. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really all.
I just noticed like posts of it in the background, and I noticed it was in the IGTV, so I was curious.
It's just something I actually have on my drawing table. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's like a rubber mat.
Yeah, I've got one. I was just I thought maybe it was, but I didn't know if it was like some special thing that you preferred to draw on top of or anything.
Someone's asking about my comic. Sorry to interrupt your flow.
No, absolutely, please.
Be a second issue to his comic when I have time. Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So is your comic, that's the heads thing, or is it something different?
I did a little zine that had a comic in it called Overdose about 4 years ago.
Really?
And it had a little 5-page comic in it. And there's supposed to be a part 2, but it just happened.
Yeah, it happens, but that's cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, while I was watching the IGTV, you were answering some questions about like what you were using and what so I wanted to touch on, you said that you use Bristol paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's your paper of choice is Bristol?
Primarily, yeah.
Nice.
Or I'll use on occasion medium weight illustration board.
Gotcha.
And it's not the super thick stuff. But yeah, Bristol paper is probably my go-to.
Okay.
It's thick enough to handle a good amount of ink, but also thin enough to where if I need to use my light table, I can still see through it to like trace my sketches.
Yeah, that's
or
awesome.
something.
That's always good.
But it's got
this.
Yeah.
I have this this multimedia.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. Yeah.
But it's like I can sketch on it, like, and then I can ink on it, and it can be finished. But it's also like in a sketchbook, so I can do like thumbnails and just random studies and stuff like that in it too.
How long have you been drawing?
How long have I been drawing?
Your whole life?
I mean, like, I have always liked to draw, but I really took it seriously when I went to school. And I graduated in 2013 with my BFA in illustration at UArts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But ever since then, I feel like I've just been kind of like bouncing back and forth with different styles and different like executions, and I'm still kind of like finding the niche that I want to use, because I do scratch board stuff and I do ink stuff and I do like stuff that's like more spooky, and then I do stuff that's more gross, and I'm just like trying to I don't know.
Trying to find your niche, right? Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, like, yeah. I think it's a little bit of everything is what my niche is.
Me too, man. Yeah.
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 But
I mean, as far as like style or medium, yeah. I think that there's something I think it's good to well, I'm saying it's good to do it, but I never did it, but it is good to, I think, branch out and do different things. But I always feel, even though somebody may do multiple things, there's that one thing that they're specializing in, and they're really kick ass at it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's good to focus in on that sometimes and get that, you know, strong.
Yeah. I definitely feel like sometimes I'm just not putting enough effort into one. Like, I'm not doing enough with one thing that I want to do. Like, say I make a piece, like a scratchboard piece with a skull, and there's like fungal stuff coming out of it. But then I just move on to something that's kind of like not in that realm. And I feel like I could just hone in on that for a while and do like a bunch of different skulls with a bunch of different fungal stuff coming out. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I've been kind of like getting stuck, feeling like I'm pulling myself in too many different directions.
Yeah.
That's
happened to me before.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to like figure out, you know, what it is I want to start like honing in on, because I've just got all these things scattered across my desk now, and it's like, these are all things that aren't commissions, and they're just like these random ideas that I have, and I start working into them, and then I jump off and I do something different. And
dude, that's just like my table right now. I have notes and things that I write down and sketch, and it's just all over. Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, I'm sure that's like part of the artistic process, is just having sketches just strewn about, and you figure out what you want to do with them, or if you want to do something different about it to make it more, you know, mesh with what you want to do. Or but it's just kind of, I don't know, sometimes it just feels like you get stuck and it's hard to like get out of it. And I feel like talking, I like, this is partly why I do this kind of stuff, is because I think it would help not only me struggling to like get out of a rut, but like to help other people like get out of like this weird funk where they just like.
Dude, and I have to interject and say that, man, I totally am. It's so awesome what you're doing.
Thanks.
And I was talking to Mr. Riddick last night about it, and we're just so stoked on it. Like, we think it's so awesome that you've taken the initiative to reach out to all these people, and kind of in our community. It's a small community of artists that are doing similar things and styles, and you know, maybe even some of the same projects and bands, and you're bringing it in one place. I mean, I can't imagine being like, I would have never dreamed of like being or having something like that when I was younger, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal. I feel like I'm just honored to be able to talk to so many artists that I look up to and I'm inspired by, but like just seeing, like, even in passing, like making new friends, making new connections. It's just
it's a fantastic idea, man. And
thanks,
it's
man.
So awesome that you've made the time and effort to do that.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an extroverted person. I don't mind reaching out to people. That's never been an issue. It's like, I just feel like for a long time I wanted to do something where I was interviewing artists, but I was like not sure how to do it. And then I was on a buddy of mine's live stream, and he called it Wharf Lurch Wednesdays. And I was just hanging out and talking to him, and I was like, well, shit, why don't I just make Form Terror Fridays?
Awesome.
And then I was like, well, I don't want to just like do exactly what he's doing. So I wanted to like, but yeah, I was like, this is the thing I want to do with it. So I'm really glad that it's being received so well, especially by such, you know, artists of your stature and Mark's stature. It's just like, it's huge. I honestly, like, I just want this to continue. I don't really know where it's going to go yet, but I'm looking forward to just continuing to do it because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. You should. It's a great thing, man.
Thanks, man.
It's a great thing. And, you know, not only is it beneficial to others and yourself, it's beneficial to the artists, too, that you're interviewing because, man, I've gone back and I've watched these things and I learned things and
cool.
Plus it's interesting, you know. I mean, I love to know about what, you know, artists that I like or even my peers are doing or what their ideas are. You know, and I may have not met some of them. You know, it's just super cool, dude. I can't commend you enough. Like,
I really appreciate that, man. I feel like I'm not the only one that's done this kind of thing, but it's supposed to be like podcast kind of stuff, but
not on the focus of
this specific genre, like this niche of art. Yeah.
Right. I have not seen that. That's
okay. Well, good. I mean, I'm glad. I hope that more people understand what I'm doing and get into it. Because I know that there's a big, you know, there's a lot of people that love metal artwork and they appreciate it. But like, if they want to know like a little bit more about the person that created that art, that's what this is for. You know what I mean?
That's great.
And that's like one facet of what it's for. So,
well, and it kind of goes back into what you were talking about, how, or maybe I mentioned it, about how more so with projects dealing with metal stuff, we don't get the credit as much, or it's not as put. I think that with things like this, that can change, you know, and there should be more of a respect towards it. I think, absolutely. In my opinion, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, like 50% of the reason that you know of a band is because of the art. The other 50% is the music.
Absolutely. I mean, some of my favorite bands, that's how I got into them, is because of the art.
Exactly. You know? Yeah, that's like that's the first impression you have of a band when you don't know them, is the imagery that's representing it.
Right.
So it's even more like, it just feels like so backwards that the artist wouldn't be credited and known, you know, right away. And I know it can be corny to have like a credit tag like on the artwork, but I honestly feel like it should be that way. Like, I love your signature too, by the way. It's so like, oh, it's just sick. I love it. It's just like very comic book style, but it's like, it's very consistent, like in all of your work, and it's done really well. Like, do you use a brush to do it? It's like,
no, just with a pen. It's just straight lines. I came up with that because, and it kind of goes back to branding. You want to, even if your name isn't like a moniker, I think that your name, whatever you sign your work with, should almost be like a logo separate from, it should be recognizable.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
You know, and I think that I'm just into that. I don't know. I picked that up from artists like Pusshead.
Hell yeah.
You know, his signature just by itself is so awesome and recognizable. Yeah. And it's almost looks like a stamp. It's on everything.
Exactly.
Does,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that.
Me too.
It's, hey, you know, this is mine. I did this, you know, it's the signature. And sometimes I don't sign things, you know, because it doesn't fit or I didn't leave room. But when I can, which is most of the time, I put that on there.
I love when you incorporate it into the piece. Like on like a helmet or something.
Or sometimes I've done it on a tombstone, or it'll be
yeah. I love the things that you incorporate in your work, like the fuck yous and like the die and like so good.
Yeah. That kind of comes from I would see skaters I was in middle school, they would write shit on their skateboards.
Hell yeah.
It's like fuck off or die. And I was
right,
like,
yeah.
So tough,
Yeah. That's sick. I love that. Yeah, so man, I have so many things that I want to say. Like,
awesome.
As far as like, yeah, but then I can't remember exactly how to put them. As far as like, oh, okay. I wanted to ask you, since you mentioned like Pusshead has like kind of like a stamp like look to his logos, and it reminded me of like the way that I put my logos in my work in the bottom corner, and it's a consistent logo that I pull from in Photoshop and size down tastefully. You know what I mean? And I'm curious about your digital aspect of your art. Do you have a scanner? Like, how do you get things? How do you get things from your what you're working on, on paper to the internet? And
what I do, well, if it's not my phone, like taking a picture with my phone and publishing it, like posting it online, but like you mean to a band, right? Like what I do is I go in my car, I get in my car and go to a FedEx and get it scanned. And then
I can't believe that. I
put it on
so
a thumb
ridiculous
drive.
to me to think about all these epic artists like waiting in line at FedEx.
Man, I don't have a scanner and I put it on a thumb drive and I email it to them, and that's all I do. I was listening to I was watching your chat with Matt Sticker. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he, dude, yeah, that's probably my weakness. I don't have the capability to, take it to the next level for printing, or to edit my files or edit my artwork or anything.
So you said, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, what I was going to say is that it's something I plan on working on.
Sure.
But it's not really anything that's crippling me too much, because my clients kind of know what they're getting from me and they kind of take it from there. And also too, if somebody doesn't know, I make it clear right away that they're getting just a high-res scan from me. And
then the rest is for them to figure out.
Right. Now, sometimes I'll get some help. I have friends that can help me with editing, or any kind of Photoshop thing I might need. But really all it is just me going to FedEx and scanning. But here's the thing. I've been going to the same FedEx for 30 years, and it was called Kinko's before. So usually I have other things I need to do there anyway. So it's not usually just scanning. I'll go work on my zine, or I'll, make some copies of stuff. Dude, I'm just old school, man. I don't know.
That's cool though. No, I love it. I mean, that's awesome. It's like, it's cool to know that way of doing things is still alive, and still working. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need to be like everything gets digitized. I learned from going to school like how to digitize line work like a long time ago.
Well, wait a minute. What do you mean by digitized line work? Like,
so when you scan something in at a certain resolution, like you would at Kinko's FedEx, from there, bringing it into a program to edit it, to take the ink that you have on paper as a scan and remove the background and high contrast the black line.
Like it's adjusting the levels and doing...
Yeah, really it's just adjusting the levels and then extracting that line by almost like it's like a selection. And once you select it, you can paint it onto a new layer and get rid of the old one, and then you've got a floating image of your art.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing when you know how to do it. If you want, I can walk you through it if you have Photoshop, but it's a really simple process that I learned, and I've never, I've developed a career with this one specific lesson that I learned in school.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's, so I was telling, I think it might have been Lucas Ruggieri. I was telling him that Christoph Spajdal, or maybe it was Nev from Gruesome. Yeah, we were talking about logos, and if you're familiar with the Lord of Logos, Christoph Spajdal, he does the same. He's old school, just like you, and he has someone send you a scan of his art, and that's it. And then he was, for a little bit, he was commissioning me for our logo of my old band. Instead of payment, he had me digitize some of his logos for other clients.
Wow.
Yeah, so he would send me these logos for bands, and then I would just extract that line, save it, and send it back.
Is that called Dodge and Burn also?
Dodge and Burn, I think, is like an effect.
Everybody I talk to always has a different. There must be a billion different ways to
There's several different ways that you can take a line from a piece of paper.
I plan to get Photoshop and Illustrator one day, and I will learn certain things, you know. But overall, man, like, I'm just concerned about getting the drawing right. And,
exactly. Well, that's the most important part. So yeah, and if you're doing it old school that way, you're completing a piece all the way through without like going, oh well, I'll just fix it in post, which is very admirable, highly respective. Like that's awesome. Like I'm just I'm a scatterbrained weirdo, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that line. I don't feel like whiting it out, or and I see that you use whiteout. I see that you use that blue whiteout thing.
Man,
go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, that little whiteout pen, man, that's I've been using that thing forever.
Yeah.
As long as I've been drawing professionally, that thing's been on my table.
Do they sell those still? Because I haven't seen them in a second.
You have to buy them online.
You ever use these?
I have, but I didn't like them.
Yeah, they get gunky.
These ones don't if you're fast enough with it.
I need to get some.
They dry flat.
That's good.
And you can draw over them really good.
Sweet. Yeah. I gotta get some then, because those do get gunky, but they come in handy in a pinch. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, excuse me. Other artists use actual. It's like a white correction, like a white paint, like an ink, you know. Like
I've heard of gouache being used.
Yeah, I've never used that, but there's things like man, I can't remember the name of it. It was called oh shit, I can't. Well, there was one by Dr. Martin's.
Okay.
And it was white correction paint or something.
That's cool. It was like kind of like a watercolor, like acrylic kind of ink.
Yeah, I never used that one, but I used another one that was real chunky. And it didn't matter how many times I bought it. It was like just really thick and nasty. Yeah. And you got to open it and use take a brush and use it. Yeah. But man, this thing is just so quick. It's just so fast. I shake it, man.
Yeah, there's someone on here that wants to see it. Can you put it up to the?
It's
Presto.
Yeah.
I've seen them and I've used them, and they were great, but I just didn't know where I could find another one. So you can go online and order them.
Yeah. Cool. Amazon or eBay or.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. I think even Office Depot you can get them. You just have to order them.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha. That's cool. Because, yeah, you can see Matt says he uses white gouache. That was one of the people I talked to about it.
Yeah, you can use that too.
Yeah. So I mean, and I looked for white gouache the other day. I went and got some new supplies, and I was looking for it, but I didn't end up finding it. And I have jelly roll white pens that are fun to mess with when you're doing stuff on top of black.
Yeah, man.
Pretty sure Riddick uses those. I'm not sure, but
I've tried them, but they've never been successful for me. I don't know if it's the type of ink I use or.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's good for corrections. I think I mean just drawing with them. I
haven't been successful with them. I don't know. Yeah, they don't work for me too well.
Gotcha.
I sometimes I found that they kind of clog up, and I'll use just regular rubbing alcohol to get the tip going, and sometimes that helps, but I don't know. I guess it's the type of ink I use. It doesn't really. I can't get a fluid line usually.
Okay.
So what I've been doing is, and this works pretty good. Let's see if I can find it here. I'll use this, man. I use this Winsor & Newton white ink. I don't know if you can. It's just like white ink.
Yeah.
And I'll take a nib and I'll dip and do my white lines with this stuff.
Oh, cool.
And this, I got that idea from this artist, Creep something. I'll send you I'll DM you his page. You need to check his shit out.
Yeah,
man. He's
please
amazing.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of reverse stippling and just crazy shit, man. I'll have to show you his stuff.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, stippling was where I started things, like for as far as like being influenced by different artwork, album artwork. I was seeing a lot of cool stippling at the time. John Dyer Baisley coming out, like taking from Pusshead and like mixing it with like Alphonse Mucha, like Art Nouveau style, and then from there kind of seeing a lot of different other artists that were just like crushing the stippling. Richie Beckett was another one.
Oh, I love his stuff. Hey, Matt, mentioned the artist. It's Creep from 6 Feet Deep, I think. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, cool.
Dude, his shit's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I will. That sounds awesome.
But that's who told me about using white ink. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Merald is another one. Oh my God, Merald art is so good. But that's not really. That's painting. So, but yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, I wanted to touch on like certain techniques and different tools that you use. You said nibs. I don't have any nibs right now, and I'm starting to think that I would like. Well, I think using a nib for a specific purpose, like a white, like accent kind of stuff, would be more ideal for me, because I feel like I just like get different pens and stuff like that, and then I just don't know where to apply them, like how to go about using them. Do you use nibs for cross hatching or hatching?
Sometimes I have. I used to use them a lot, mainly back in the 90s. But and I this artist Benjamin Mara, his stuff's really cool too. But
incredible.
He told me about these ones called Hunt 103s, and they're really flexible, like a brush. So I've been kind of experimenting with those again, and I would have to do like a small drawing specifically just for that, like from start to finish. But for me, using it for a whole big project, probably not.
Gotcha.
But they're cool for certain things. Yeah.
So typically, how big do you work? Like how big is the paper you like to use?
It depends on the project.
Okay.
It could be anywhere from. Like that last thing I posted was on that kind of squid-looking Cthulhu monster thing. That was like on a 9x12 sheet of Bristol.
Okay.
But then sometimes I'll work, 14x14 square for an album cover.
Right. And you cut it from like a 17 by 14 piece,
right,
or
or a 15 by 20.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I've done pieces that are that big, 15 by 20, or.
And how do you get that scanned?
That has to be scanned in pieces, like whenever that happens. You know what I mean? And then someone puts it together for me.
I've always like been so hesitant to do like the piece together scan thing, and I still don't understand how Matt said he did it. But I have a large format scanner.
What's up,
here.
Skinner?
Oh shit.
That's my buddy.
What an honor. I didn't realize I'd have Skinner watching me. Like, that's, holy shit. What's going on?
What's up, man?
Wait, which tag is Skinner on here? Oh,
the Art of Skinner.
Holy shit. Cool. Right on. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess.
But I work all different sizes, dude. Like, it's
yeah.
not always super huge. Sometimes it's, 5 by 7,
Right. Yeah. Right now I'm using like the Canson 11 by 14 as my like the biggest piece of paper, but I have a large format scanner that fits just over like 13 inches in one direction and like 18 inches in the other direction. It's a special scanner from like Europe that like you can't really find anymore.
I saw you talking about it on your other.
Yeah, it's my baby. I'm gonna be real sad if it dies. So, but my bandmate said he can fix it, and I'll just keep him around, I suppose, a little longer. Yeah. So like, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've just always been kind of hesitant about the multi, like piece together scanning thing.
That's beyond me, dude. I always have to get some help with that if that happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no clue.
Yeah, I just don't like to work that big anymore. I used to try and work as like big as I felt like I needed to, but it's just a little too labor intensive for me. Like it's just not. But like and people are all different. Like like
it's not always necessary.
Right.
It's really not. No, it depends on the project, I think.
Right. But is Bristol, I forget, is Bristol hot press and cold press? Like, can you get either or is that like a combination of I can't remember.
Usually with that stuff, it's just labeled as like, on most brands, it's labeled as like smooth 4-pin and ink. And then they'll have like they'll have a vellum version.
Yeah.
And then they'll have one that's like kind of textured.
And you like
for dry media, for like pencil stuff.
Gotcha.
But
and you like the smooth one?
Yeah, I always get the smooth one.
Nice.
Or the vellum. Even though the vellum's like for dry media, I've noticed like my blacks look way blacker on vellum sometimes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, so let's see. What time is it? I want to make sure that I'm not running over my band practice again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're good. It's only 6:45, 6:47. So I'm going to be jetting by 7:15 or so to get to practice by 7:30. So
cool.
Yeah. But does anyone have any questions while we're at like a stopping point? Because I'm trying to think of what other questions I might have. But it's been super cool just getting to know you, man. It's
Dude, thanks for having me on here, man.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Hell yeah. I just, like I said, I like to kind of get in other artists' heads and just sing their praises a little bit and understand their process and all those things.
Totally awesome thing you're doing.
Thanks, man. I still, I'm still checking out Warflirts Wednesdays, and I'm on there pretty actively. So like, I always have to give a shout out to Mike Colby from Warflurch for giving me just that idea to do a live stream on a day and then call it that on Friday to work it out with what I'm calling it Form Terror Friday.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, like I started a new Instagram just a little bit ago.
I saw that. I was wondering, like, what is he?
Yeah,
one or having the both, or
I mean, to be honest, like I felt like my old one kind of just didn't like. It wasn't capturing what it was that I was trying to do with like death metal, especially like the kind of stuff I was doing for Bloodsport. Just like wanted more like creepy, like gooey, like gory, drippy shit. And the other stuff that I do is like spooky and like just not as pushed in that direction. And I kind of wanted to leave like that as like its own thing, because I do like art events, and I'll like make screen print posters and digital posters that I sell at like art events. And a lot of people that dig that kind of stuff, they might not necessarily be into death metal. They might just be more into like a spooky cat, or you know what I mean, or like a pumpkin kind of thing. And like I like doing both ends of that spectrum. But lately I've been focusing, I've been putting my focus on like that more that evil shit that I want to like, really try and get super weird with.
And then separate the two.
Yeah, and then just like on top of that, like I keep the other one because it's like kind of a portfolio for everything I've done. But like, I don't know. I still kind of feel like I want to be able to toggle between them, and I'm still trying to figure out like if that's even a possibility, because my brain is just like, it's not easily able to like split into all these different directions without getting really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So, kind of focus on one thing for a little, and that's, I mean, this has become its thing in this Instagram. Form Terror Fridays has developed, so it's something that I feel like, I feel more comfortable doing, like building this Instagram than doing it with that other one, because I feel like there's like a mixture of, it like kind of clashes the, like I wouldn't want to post like a Halloween thing like on this. I don't know what, like it's, I would want it to be like a certain kind of aesthetic that it keeps to on this side. So I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I like people.
No, that's not really a weird thing. I think that there's some people that do that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's part of just me being indecisive, but
I'm sure there's people that wonder sometimes, like, why is he posting that? But I don't care. Like,
it just gets a little confusing.
Is what you get from me, and I'm sure there's like, oh, that's not death metal looking,
I guess like that's just my way of like keeping things more separated in an aspect. But I'm also still posting death metal-y shit to the old one. like
get away from the death metal.
It's kind of become more of a portfolio on that side, and then on this side is like only the weird Hesher shit.
Right.
So let's see.
That makes sense.
We got some cool questions.
Oh, okay.
What do you play? I think that was a question about. Oh, I think that was that for me. I play drums in Bloodsport. And then Riddick said, Daniel, what was your most challenging commissions?
Wow. Well, there's one that comes to mind. I won't mention the band, but there's one that comes to mind probably about 4 years ago. And based on my description, I'm sure some people you can scroll back and find it. But it was and some people out there might even remember it, but it was a huge gatefold illustration, and they wanted a street scene of like a modern street scene full of like buildings and peoples, like ground level, but of a battle of these ancient Mongolian type warriors fighting each other, but it's in a modern setting. And dude, that thing like completely kicked my ass.
Yeah, that sounds like a monster.
Yeah, I'm not too I mean, it's okay for what it is. There's so many things I would do different with it now, but just the struggle with that was just that's probably the most challenging one.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work, and it probably wasn't something that you were like super passionate about.
Not really.
Yeah.
I tried to make it not necessarily fun, but just keep myself engaged with it by just using it as a learning tool, and
Gotcha.
Get into the drawing. Sometimes it doesn't even matter what it is. Like, even if I don't like the subject matter, I'll just make it a drawing lesson, and just get into just the actual learning and drawing behind it.
So I have a question. This is something that I actually ask every one of my guests. Do you turn bands away that you don't wish to like? Is there any time that you turn someone away because it's not something that aligns with your like interests? Not because it's like offensive or anything like that, but like because it's not something you want to like make art for because it would be representing that or whatever. Like, is there any filter?
Like for instance, say like if trying to think of somebody, like if what's a current pop artist? Like, you mean like if somebody?
Oh yeah, like I don't know. If I try to even say a pop artist that's current,
is that what you mean? Like, is that what you mean? Like, say if I don't know, say if like Justin Bieber wanted something,
right?
Or say if like some rap artist wanted something. Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, I don't care who it is or.
Okay. So there's no style of music that you wouldn't like make art for.
No, everything, because I want to pay my bills.
Sure, no, of course.
And I don't want to work it. I don't want to flip burgers or be a Walmart greeter, because
totally
at this point in my life, that's about all I could do. So I'd rather pay my rent drawing.
I got you for sure. I'll give you like an example for me. Like, I'm different, I guess. Like I'm not. I don't feel like as talented, but at the same time, because I have like so little like attention span to be able to create something, or like because it takes so much out of me to create something, or because it takes me so much time to like really figure out how to execute something, I don't have time to do something for some band that I don't care about, like that I don't want to represent, or like, so there's certain genres of music that I'm just like, sorry, it's not my style, but I'll try and like help you. I'd suggest like this person or that person.
I used to be that way when I first started, when the things got rolling for me with doing bands. I used to be a lot more pickier with styles, but as the years progressed, my objective is to get my art in front of all eyes. I don't care who it is. So cool. I don't care what music, or I would prefer things that I like, but it's not always going to be that way. So I would rather just, again, it's about making a living with my art, and I don't want to have a part-time job. Because I did that for so many years, and it's never been my dream to just have a part-time job and just only do evil satanic death metal stuff. I mean, if I could do that and, you know, be comfortable with my living situation, you know, and be comfortable with a day job that way, I would probably do that. But
yeah,
in this case, as I said earlier, I'm not comfortable with somebody else's schedule or day job. I've never fit in with any kind of line of work that doesn't tie in with the way that I create or think, or I don't know.
And that's why it's so admirable. Like that's awesome. Like
yeah.
I mean, I have an immense amount of respect for anyone who is in that same category of human being. So it's absolutely commemorative. Like I love that. Like that's who I am as well. But I guess I just have to I have to know my limits as far as like what kind of creative juices I need to squeeze out for certain things. And like, I don't want to feel like I'm spinning my wheels for things that I don't feel passionate about. So like,
I think one thing that helps me, I mean, I know what you feel, and and I've felt that too. And there are projects and bands where I'm like, you know, but man, and I have turned things away for different reasons. But not really because of the music or what they want, but more of their attitude or how they come at me, or if they're hard to work with. But if it's something that I feel could be better or more representative of my style, I'll suggest something to fit with their idea to make it fit better. Because a lot of times bands don't have good ideas that fit in with, they just don't. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it.
A lot of them do, but then a lot of them, even though they're coming to me for what I do, it seems like, wow, did you pay attention? I mean, do you even know what I do? You know, so but I'll tweak it. But what I was getting at, the thing that helps me is that I view it as like, oh, this is not something I would normally draw, or I'm not really into this, so it's a challenge, and I try to focus on, let's make the line work as killer as possible. Let's make the composition let's throw in some things that, you know, will make it interesting for me, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what helps me. I don't know if that's just something that you could kind of try maybe next time. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like, it just depends. Like, there's just certain kinds of music that I just don't really like. I don't want to, like, I guess the thing is, like, I feel like if you start to do art for a certain kind of band, that kind of band, another band will see that because they're in that circle together.
Fred, that's what
go,
happens.
Oh, I want that art done, and then you become the artist that's doing something for that kind of music. But if you don't want to represent that kind of music in the beginning,
that's what's happened to me. And I'll tell you, it goes to what we said earlier. You know, if you want to make a living with your art, you're going to have to branch out a little bit, because as much as I would like, or anyone else would like, I think to make a living just with underground death metal art, I don't personally, I don't think that could happen. Maybe it can.
I mean, I'm not even saying like, I think it's like, it's really only like a certain few things that I don't want to do art for, but I'm pretty open-minded as far as like outside of those like select kinds of like music. Like it's really only like metalcore and deathcore that I just don't want to make art for.
Hey,
like
I don't either, but I've done them, and I don't know. Everyone's different. I don't regret it.
Well, that's cool. I mean, you chomp it and spit it out and do what you got to do, and that's,
it pays my rent.
Super cool. Like
it pays my rent. You know, I remember being like really young, 14, 15 years old, and I would see something that Pushead did,
Yeah.
You know, at the height of his career when he's really getting huge. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
wow, why did he do something for Primus? Or why did he do something? You know, I would start seeing all these like things, you know, that he would do.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, that's kind of lame, you know, but hey, you
Yeah.
know, he's doing what he wants and he's paying his bills. I That's a small sacrifice in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get you. No, I mean I do. I think like it depends on the artist. Like as far as like their capability of like cranking workout, and I think that you are one of the like best examples as far as like that goes. Like you really crank out work like super consistently, and it's
Thanks,
amazing. So I think
I'm,
like
I'm literally drawing because I'm drawing as though my life depends on it, and it literally it does.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah, I mean,
you know, and that's what I was going to say earlier too. I don't think you asked. Well, you did ask it, and it was just like, as far as getting things going, I think that's just the key is to just produce as much as you can, and the more you do, the more eyes will see it, and then that leads to opportunities, or even it's just a piece that you create to sell.
Right.
There's a collector's market, and that's more than half of my income is selling little originals. And I told my friend Matt Putrid, which I don't know if you know him, but you should have him on here.
Yeah, I do. Matt
He's
Carr,
a great guy.
Yeah.
And he started in on selling little pieces and has sold a few, I think. It's just, man, in between jobs or you don't have anything going, create the work. And that'll be your income. And if something doesn't sell right away, because I remember being kind of like, I'm kind of discouraged that I put all this effort into it, it didn't sell. If you put it to the side and post it like a month later, everyone thinks it's a new piece.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's part of the secret. You know, it looks like I'm, you know, prolific.
Like, I get that. Yeah,
you know,
but you are consistently posting new art is what it is. It's like, yeah, but that, I mean, that's true. That's very, that's something to keep in mind for sure, is like just continuing to make more and then having it for when you want to post it and not like feeling like, oh, I can't post anything until I have something new to show. Yeah. That's just kind of having that turnaround. That's big.
I used to worry about that. I was like, oh man, I've already posted this. Everyone, you know, this is going to seem redundant or
right.
But man, you'd be surprised how many people like, oh my God, that's amazing. You know, and
right. And I've found that a really cool thing you can do too is do like close-up shots of it, even if after you've posted like the full piece. People really love to see something up close, and you can't see it up close unless you're in person. So the only way you can really do that is either take a video of you zooming in and showing it, or taking crops of the you know, close-up pieces and putting them on Instagram for people to, you know, marvel at in their own posts. And I think that expands the amount of eyes and the amount of interest and the amount of interaction that you have in a digital setting like that, as far as getting as much out of a piece as possible.
Right.
So I've found that that's pretty cool. Like, just post the full, and then like the days after, be like, here's one part of this, or here.
That's
or you could do it all in one shot and just have it. You could swipe through, and I've done that too. And that's, I mean, it's a little more interesting when you wait and you like show, you know, every few days.
You're right. You're right. And I haven't tried that. I might try that. I've done the swipe thing, up close details, where you swipe and then you see the whole thing. But doing like an up close thing first, and then later, like say later that week, show the whole thing or progress.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah, you could do it reverse, or like
that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I mean, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just I have found that there are like I just like keep discovering little like weird things that you can do to post and show people like get more people to interact and what have you. And I feel like I'm doing it way better than I did on my last Instagram, but it's still there. I don't know. I just don't like mixing stuff together like that. Like I want all my evil shit in one spot.
I felt that way too. At certain points, even though this is the only one I've had, and when I started it out, I guess it was kind of mixed. I would say that all I had at that point was just the bands I had done stuff for. So I was posting those things, and then when I ran out of those images, I was like, I was just doing anything, and it was all over the place. But and I guess that's kind of where it's at now, since
I mean, that's
even
like
back
how
then
things kind of, like whatever you're making is like whatever people are seeing, and then that's opening those different doors and windows and
right. It's
premises.
weird how that happens. Yeah.
I think we have some questions. I'm not sure, or I think we went through a bunch of stuff here. I don't know what Automate is, but Skinner said just use Automate when we were talking about piecing scans together. Riddick asked that. Okay, so I've tried pen and ink, and I just don't have the skill to produce the images in this style, but always been blown away with it. Now, how do you get inspiration for your compositions? I think we kind of answered that earlier. If you want to, this is Dad Draws 1981. Really, I would come and watch the beginning of when we were talking about inspiration. But if you want to touch on it, go for it.
Just real quick on composition specifically, there are key ones, and there's names for them. I don't know the names, but there's triangle, there's circle, and meaning that, I want my eye to be directed in a triangle, and that's just a good way to move the eye around the page. I think of a shape, and I kind of go by what's interesting in my sketch based on, on the shape that I'm working around. So that's kind of where it starts.
I love that. Yeah. I like to start with like weird amorphous blobs.
Yeah. Anything to make the composition look interesting,
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
But that's how I do it. Yeah.
Nice. Matt Sticker said something about posting nothing about jokey shit and pizza content for years. Now he's stuck with this stupid handle. And then Riddick laughed, and it sounds like a massive headache. I think he was talking about the piece that you asked about, or that he asked about, the most challenging commission. So Matt Sticker said he will not turn that Ariana Grande money myself. Death metal don't pay the bills. Do you ever do tattoo commissions? Do you ever do tattoo commissions?
No.
Yeah,
I'm not a tattoo artist. Go to a tattoo artist to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, I always tell people that ask me like, "Oh, can I get you to do a design for me to get tattooed?" And I'm like, "Well, the thing is, you're going to be paying double. You're going to be paying me for my services, and then you're going to have to pay that tattoo artist to interpret my piece." And right. then I have to be okay with the way they're interpreting it. It seems way more messy than just going and getting something done by another artist that works, to their favor. But I get that. I do understand, like, there is a certain there's a certain look to people's artwork that you want that exact thing on your body, and it would be amazing if that was that easy, but it's just not that easy. So you can find someone that will be able to interpret that, but you still have to pay for the commission, and then you have to pay the tattoo artist. It's just
Yeah, I just don't mess with that. Yeah,
I hear you.
They can pay me to use one of my.
Would you let someone buy your art for a tattoo design? Yeah.
I was gonna say I've sold, people designs. If they want to use something of mine, they can buy it to use for a tattoo.
Yeah.
Again, I always tell them, you should just get your tattoo artist to draw something, but yeah, they can do that if they pay me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess, like, I'm curious because, like, I know that some people get art that's, like, inspired on their arms or legs or whatever by other artists that are, like, exactly that style. How do you feel about that? Like, if someone were to emanate your style as a tattoo, like, of a piece, like an interpretation of a piece, I guess probably wouldn't be that bad, right?
I guess not. I mean, I think that happens anyway with, if they're going to take something and turn it into a tattoo, there's going to be
definitely going to be some translation there. Yeah.
Right. Cause it's not tattoo,
right.
it's
even if they printed a piece out and, like, did that line, that printout, they would still have to go over it and trace it, and it would lose something in that translation. But
right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I guess it would be considerably like draw this in your style, kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of. But it would be more. It depends, obviously, right? Because, like, if it was like a tattoo artist interprets a Daniel Shaw, like, it would be, it would just look similar. Like, the composition would be your, like, idea, but it would be their execution of said idea.
Yeah, and some things work better as tattoos than others. I can't see a fully rendered piece of mine translated to tattoo unless it was done with a certain tattoo shading style versus like they're not going to tattoo every cross-hatched line.
Of course not. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some people, like, I just feel like some people don't understand that.
Right. Yeah, no, it's not.
They're going to
definitely.
There's lines that are, like, so close together, they're going to spread over time. You're going to have to get it opened up and simplified, and the artist is going to have to turn it into a tattoo.
Exactly.
And I don't know. It's fine to me if they want to buy the image to do. And I know that people are going to take it anyway and do it. So I'm just kind of whatever about it,
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, I'm just curious.
I love tattoos and I have them. I'm not a tattoo artist. I would say if you like a tattoo artist, you should like their art and you should just have them do something, is my thoughts on it. I don't know.
Yeah, agreed.
But
I think
it's honest. I
think it's probably people are like, oh, I know a guy that tattoos, so if I take something that I like from you, he can do it because you guys both do stuff with things. It's not
right.
Yeah. No. But all right, let's see. Do you ever do okay? And then Riddick said stay productive. Inspirations. Daniel, what are you working on at the moment? Says Mark.
At the moment, I've got a logo. I've got a couple of logos that I need to do. And then I have a giant fucking gatefold album cover to work on. And then after that, I'm pretty excited about this one, but I don't think I can talk about it. It's a Japanese metal band. That's all I'm going to say. And doing a cover for that, for their EP. And that's all I have right now. So
okay.
That's all awesome. The projects.
Awesome.
That gatefold's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you'll be more passionate about it than the one from hell.
Yeah, it'll be a lot more fun. It'll be a lot of figures in it, but it won't be a bunch of boring buildings and stuff. So
yeah. Matt Sticker said 0% of people who want tattoo designs follow through. 0. Yeah, definitely. Like, Micah Ulrich just asks people to buy something from his shop. Okay, kind of a way to support him. Thanks, Francis. All right, cool. Well, I think we answered some questions. We got to know Daniel Shaw a lot more. I did, because I didn't know him at all.
Yeah.
I only knew him through his art and our occasional messaging back and forth. I want to take a second to absolutely thank you for doing this.
Dude, thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. I really...
Cool, man.
Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that people are, getting into it and feeling it, because I didn't know what, if people were going to be into it. So it's really humbling. It's really nice to hear artists are appreciating what I'm putting out here.
Yeah,
so.
I can't see, if you're doing the type of art that we're doing, I can't see why you wouldn't, or how you would not appreciate this. It's just a great idea, and I hope you keep doing it. And I fully support it. So
thanks, man.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll I don't know, if there's any, I don't know how to up the ante necessarily. I think something that I could consider is what's that?
Yeah, you were saying up the ante. I mean, just keep doing it, and get those key guests on, man. You could I don't know, get Wes Binscotter on next, or fucking Dan Seagrave, or
Don't worry, I've got some people. I mean, I'll reach out to you if I need some suggestions, for sure. Some older heads. Yeah. No. I mean, I definitely feel like I would like for this to maybe be a YouTube live thing I could do. It would probably open up a lot more potential viewers. I'm not sure, because I think Instagram, it's only people that follow me, and I think there's only a certain amount of ability for people to see what I'm doing, because Instagram regulates that, I don't really know how it works, but I think I'm only allowed to be seen by certain people, and I don't really, so I don't know how that would work with YouTube, but maybe if I already have some sort of following, it might be a little easier, a smoother transition. So I'll see, but for now, I'm just going to keep doing this. And yeah, I mean, I just want, if people like what I'm doing, just share. When I make a new post about an artist that I'm going to be talking to, just share on your stories, talk about it, tell other people. I love getting messages with people thanking me for doing this. It's really nice to see people appreciate, just talking with artists and getting to know how artists are thinking and doing things and executing.
Man, that's how you learn, by asking, and and you ask.
It's not always easy to you don't always want to bug an artist about asking these questions.
You want to get to know them first, and I just this idea and platform, for what you're trying to do is just a great opportunity to get that information out.
Cool.
I think it's great.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you.
Any working artist wants to share their experiences and knowledge of what they know, and even what they don't know. We all help each other, man. We're all kind of doing this together, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to not share it. But I get what you're saying. You can, it doesn't make sense to just hound somebody when they're busy, but setting it up this way, Yeah, it's just a great idea. I can't say enough. I think it's
Thanks,
awesome.
man. I didn't think it was very original, but
No,
here we are.
No, I think it's pretty for the idea behind it. Like,
yeah,
I've never seen anything just focusing on artists doing, extreme metal art. Not that that's all I do, but I'm just saying that's a good portion of what I do, and a lot of other people. So that you're talking to, and there's different levels of where we're at in our careers, and or not, and it's
and
just
that's,
interesting.
I think that's the biggest thing is to like shine light on that. Like I'm here for the artists that are killing it in the game, and I'm here for the artists that don't even know how to get started. You know what I mean?
Dude, and I just want to say, like, I didn't know. I this is all very by the seat of my pants. I just did it. And everything that I need to learn, like the business side of things, and making sure to take out enough for taxes and all this other stuff that to run like a legitimate business, I'm learning along the way, and it's a long process, and to also stay on top of your work that you owe people for it's very it's a lot. It's a lot. So I mean, but there's nothing wrong also, though, as a beginner to just I think the key thing is just do the work and do as much of it as you can and learn and grow as an artist, and the rest will follow through, because that's what happened with me. And that's the most key thing that I think I can share, because there's a whole ton of shit that I'm still learning.
Sure. Yeah. I think, human beings in general, just learning every single day, new little weird things. And I think like,
till we kick the bucket. Yeah,
exactly. So in the meantime, draw skulls.
As many as possible.
With helmets, skulls.
Helmeted skulls till death.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Dude, thank you, man. You
really appreciate it. So this is the portion of the show where I take a second to announce our next guest. And we've been talking with a lot of really super like hyperactive artists that are just consistently like pushing out work, and that's been awesome. But I want to start talking to some people that are a little more gradual and maybe something that like they create something that comes to them, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like a consistent thing for them in their lives. And so I'm really stoked to be talking next week with Chase Slaker of Mortiferum, as he's the guitarist of Mortiferum, and he's also in Caustic Wound, and he's
I love Caustic.
Yeah, they're
I love
bands
Caustic
are incredible, and his paintings are amazing. He's done stuff for Morbific, which is a newer band from Finland that just crushes. And he does all of the paintings for his releases with Mortiferum. He did the Hyperdonia and Mortiferum split, and through Psychotic Depths, that was their LP that came out, or their full length that came out a couple of years back, and it's phenomenal. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Chase and getting to know him better. He's an oil painter, which is something I've not talked to anybody about on these shows yet. So that's going to be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because like I don't want it to just be pen and ink, and I think I've talked to a lot of pen and ink artists so far. But it's going to be branching out now a little bit, and we're going to be talking to artists that aren't doing this for a living, or are just doing things a little more at their own speed. So
that's awesome too.
Yeah. Just sometimes making art in general.
Sometimes I wish I could go back to that mode.
Right on. Well, yeah.
There's good in both. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in and checking out what I'm doing here, and thank you very much for asking questions and watching with my guest Daniel Shaw. He's been an amazing guest, and really appreciate all of the time you took to answer questions, and we could get into your head a little bit.
My pleasure, man.
Is there anything that you want to ask, or is like, anything you want to plug or put out there, announce,
Nothing really special. Just stay tuned for more art. I'm going to keep cranking the stuff out, and that's all I can say.
Nice.
Support Fred.
Nice.
So,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
All
Love
right.
what you do,
cool.
man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I will talk to you later if you want. If you want to
definitely
log
stay
off
in
there.
touch, man.
All right, will do, man. Thank
Later,
you so
dude.
much.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
I cut this off.
Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to next week when we talk to Chase Slaker. Once again, just really appreciate the eyes, the questions, the interest. Just do me a favor. If you like what you're seeing, if you like being involved in this or seeing what I'm posting and who I'm talking to, and just share, just talk about it with friends that you think would dig it. Suggest artists if you want to. Hit up my, slide into my DMs and let me know who you think I should talk to. I love seeing, who's out there doing stuff, and I'm constantly learning about new artists. So hit me with that if you want. I always really appreciate feedback as far as, well, not feedback in like, hey, this is what you should do differently, but I always appreciate when people tell me, if they like that they dig it or whatever. So thank you for those people that have done that. And I just share on posts, stories, if that would be the most helpful. And I think it would just, get more eyes on it. And, that's, I think, like, just ultimately want to inspire people. And that's how you do it, I just want more people to see what we're doing here and see where it goes. So thank you. Now I'm going to go to band practice. So cheers.